This picture should look familiar to you. We covered this in Chapter 12. It's the organization of the nervous system. So to begin with a review of this, just like with the joints, we can also organize the nervous system by both structure and function. For structure, we have the CNS and the PNS, central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. CNS is your brain and spine. This is what receives information, makes decisions, and gives commands. PNS is peripheral nervous system. This is all the nerves that connect your body to your CNS. And remember, you learned in Chapter 12, a nerve is a bundle of axons of neurons. And a neuron is a basic cell of the nervous system. So the entire CNS is all made of neurons. And then you have the glia that support them. And a nerve is a bundle of the axons of neurons. And these are what run out and connect your sensory receptors to your CNS and connect your CNS to your effectors. Then with function, you have two basic functions. Sensory, which sensory is always going to be information going to the CNS. And this is also called afferent. Think of a divided highway. This is always information that is going toward the CNS. And sensory is divided into somatic and visceral. Okay, remember, somatic is what you are aware of. It's sight, smell, taste, hearing, touch. It's all the stuff you know you know. Visceral is subconscious. It's things your brain knows, but you're not consciously aware, like the composition of your blood, what your internal body temperature is, what your organs are up to. Then we have motor, which motor is commands from the CNS. And this is also called efferent. Okay, so again, with the divided highway, it's commands from the CNS. So it's always moving away from the brain and spine out to a body part. And we have somatic and autonomic. Somatic is voluntary. The only thing in your body you have voluntary control of is your skeletal muscles. Autonomic is involuntary. So these are the commands that your brain is giving, but you're not consciously deciding these commands. And the effectors for involuntary are cardiac muscle. That's why you see a picture of the heart there as the example. Smooth muscle, such as your blood vessels, your digestive system, and your glands, like sweat glands, salivary glands, tear glands. All of these things, skeletal muscles, cardiac muscle, smooth muscle, and glands, these are all effectors. Effectors are the body part that receives the command. This is what you learned already in Chapter 12. Now we are ready to build on this, expand on these ideas, and we're going to separate the autonomic into two divisions. So this chapter focuses just on autonomic. So autonomic has two divisions. And we follow color coding, and this color coding stays consistent throughout the book. So parasympathetic is always going to be in green. Parasympathetic is your rest and digest. So this is when you're calm, you're relaxed, and while you're resting and relaxed is when you tend to focus on digesting food, on healing, on general housekeeping of your body. So during this time, you're resting, so your heart and your breathing are going to be slowed down. You don't need those as active. And your digestion, healing any wounds, just kind of general housekeeping, maintaining the body. Those things are all going to be increased. Then at the other end, we have sympathetic. Sympathetic is your fight or flight. There's what's called the 3 E's of sympathetic. These are the 3 things that will cause you to be in sympathetic. That is emergency, exercise, and excitement. So anytime one of these 3 things is going on in your life, you're going to be in your sympathetic division. So this goes along with being active. So your heart and your breathing are going to increase. Okay, if you think about that, connect this to what you've already learned. You're going to be active, which means you're going to need lots of ATP. And in order to make ATP, you need oxygen and fuel to your cells. So you need to be breathing more, getting more oxygen, also getting rid of carbon dioxide that your cells produce when they make ATP. And you need your heart pumping so you can deliver this stuff to your cells. And at this time, your digestion, your healing, your general maintenance are going to go down, because you need to focus on the emergency that you're dealing with. So you tend to switch back and forth between these or be somewhere in between. It is a continuous scale. So you can have parasympathetic at one end, sympathetic at the other end. You slide back and forth. You could be here, or you could be here, or over here, or right in the middle. So depending on what's going on with you, you slide back and forth. And you can also think of it like a teeter-totter. Anytime that parasympathetic is up, sympathetic is down. So if your parasympathetic is turned up high, your sympathetic is turned down low. You could be kind of partially excited, and you could be perfectly balanced between the two. Or you could be in a full-on life-threatening emergency, and if you have sympathetic turned up, then parasympathetic is turned down. So this first one, with the parasympathetic high and the sympathetic down, this would be like when you're half asleep on the couch watching TV. In the middle, where you're kind of balanced, this would be like just typical day. You're at work or at school. You're active, but not full-on active. Maybe you're out shopping. The last one would be a full-on emergency. So like you are in a life-threatening situation. It could be that you're exercising, like maybe you're running a marathon. Or your favorite football team has just won the Super Bowl. Something really exciting has happened to you. This is when you have the adrenaline rush. So an adrenaline rush is part of your sympathetic response. So whenever you have sympathetic, you can add in here fight or flight and adrenaline rush. So there's an overview of what's happening, what this chapter is about. So remember, in your function, you have motor, and then under motor, you have autonomic, and then autonomic has these two divisions, parasympathetic and sympathetic. And you are constantly sliding back and forth between the two. And remember that whenever one of them is turned up, the other is turned down. You can't be fully in both. If you're doing more of one, you're doing less of the other.